I started looking for a vehicle through one of the walls.
A witness describes what he heard and felt during an explosion in Little Canada. The blast leveled an office building. Officials say a natural gas leak may be to blame on this Friday, July 19th, 1991.
And Diana Pierce with Family Healthcare. And this is KARE 11 News at 5.
But an explosion rocks the city of Little Canada, reducing an office building to rubble. Little Canada is about 5 miles.
Commercial building here behind me. As you can see, there's virtually nothing left of it now. Investigators have been here throughout the day trying to determine exactly why that happened. And right now, the most likely explanation appears to be a natural gas leak.
It sounded like a semi had hit a building.
My heart went 150 beats a minute when I come around the corner. I mean, the closer I got, it looked like, I kept thinking it can't be our building.
It happened so quickly that smoldering rubble was really all anyone saw. But fire quickly spread to the car wash on the south and a home just to the north, where Doris Klein and her son were sleeping.
I got up and looked out the door real quick. I could see something, I didn't know what it was, and then I realized the building was halfway down.
Fire burned through much of the house. Later today, the Kleins were trying to salvage what they could.
There's a lot of old memories that are lost. We had a lot of antiques and everything else. Everything's gone.
The force of the blast broke windows in several nearby businesses, but it didn't come without a hint of problems. NSP responded to a call about the smell of gas near here at about midnight, and a crew found a small leak nearby.
That was a very small indication of the amount of gas. It was not a threat to public safety. It was not a hazard. It was something that could wait until today to repair.
It appears that that leak did not cause the explosion, but NSP and state fire marshal's investigators suspect that another leak, probably inside the building, did. Now, the house, or the building and its contents are considered a total loss. The house you can see behind me next to it is virtually a total loss. The good news in all this is that no one was hurt. It was before business hours, so there was no one in the building at the time, and some tenants here are very relieved with that fact, despite the fact that they have lost their businesses. NSP has been out here throughout the day as well, checking all their lines leading up to the site, doing a variety of tests underground and to their lines to be sure that they aren't at fault, and they don't appear to be. In this kind of an explosion, it's normally a leak inside the building, which would be the responsibility of the building owner. Paul?
Dennis, do you have any idea how many people actually worked in that building?
Well, we know there were 4 separate businesses. The exact count of employees I can't give you.
It really is amazing that it did happen before business hours.
And just shortly before business hours. In fact, I heard one report from someone here on the scene that I haven't confirmed yet, that there was someone on the site this morning just before the explosion who was about to report the leak, and it's left the site to do that when the explosion occurred.
All right, Dennis, thank you very much. Dania Hall yesterday morning. Investigators say witnesses saw children on the fire escape before
Let's check in for a quick preview from Edit Room 5. Lou.
Well, Val, the explosion seems to have been caused by some sort of problem with natural gas. Investigators are just not sure at this point. We talked with NSP today. They say their tests show there were no leaks, no problems on their end. They say whatever went wrong, it must have happened inside the office building. When firefighters got here this morning, they encountered an intense fire, but already most of the damage had been done. An incredible explosion destroyed the businesses that were here: a print shop, a sporting goods store, and a clinic. Windows on a supermarket 100 yards away were blown out. A house right next to the explosion was heavily destroyed by fire. 2 people were home at the time, Doris Klein and her son. They were asleep when the blast shook their home.
And I realized the whole roof had dropped. It looked like halfway down. And then I saw the glass fly, and I saw the fire start in the southwest corner.
Just heard an explosion, or I thought a car hit our house. I thought somebody drove a car through the house. After about 2 or 3 minutes, I looked outside, and there's no building next door. It's gone.
Now, some residents in Little Canada are concerned tonight because they say they complained about a gas smell late last night. They want to know if it's related to that explosion. We're going to look at that at 6 tonight.
All right. We'll see you then. Thanks, Lou.
Investigators have spent the day sifting the rubble of the building. It may have been caused by a natural gas leak that easily could have been deadly. Alan Cox reports.
By 7:30 this morning, the building that used to stand here would have had 8 workers or more inside. Instead, at 6:45, it was empty of people, but making a hissing noise.
You could hear it. It was a plain sound, almost like air coming out of a pipe. You could hear it that loud.
Seconds later, Frost saw the building blow up, shooting splinters of wood and glass 75 feet into the air. A man next door thought a truck had crashed into his home.
I noticed our house was on fire. Tried to use the garden hose to slow the flames down, didn't do no good, so a couple of the neighbors told me to get the heck out of there, and I did.
For a time, firefighters were worried that there might be hazardous materials, liquids, in the basement print shop, and for a time, firefighters were pulled back from the scene. But a check indicated there was no danger from chemicals. But the heat overwhelmed 2 firefighters who needed emergency treatment. For the 3 businesses and the chiropractor who had offices in the building, there was little left to salvage.
It's going to take a little while to figure out where we can move, what we can do. All our records, everything was in there.
Well, I have insurance. I don't think I have enough to replace everything that I got, but, you know, should have enough to get started again, I think.
Anderson's wife had smelled something strange in their basement print shop Wednesday afternoon, and shortly before midnight last night, a passerby reported to police the smell of natural gas at an intersection 100 feet away. NSP says a crew discovered a minor leak several hours before the blast, but the utility says the leak was unrelated to the explosion. Investigators believe it may have been caused by a leak somewhere in the rubble. Alan Cox, WCCO Television News, Little Canada.
Those business owners say that the damage from the blast could be about $600,000.
And it didn't appear